In the previous video, we talked about different Wi-Fi standards from 802.11a all the way up to 802.11be. In this video, we're going to go focus on something just as important, the security of your wireless network. Having a secure Wi-Fi network is critical because Wi-Fi is wireless. The data you send travels through the air, which means someone could potentially eavesdrop and intercept that data as it makes its way to your router. But that's only possible if the data is sent in plain text. That's where the encryption comes in. Instead of sending data openly, encryption locks it inside a digital safe before it's transmitted. That way, even if someone intercepts the signal, they will not be able to read the actual data. Breaking that encryption would take time and effort, and that's exactly the point. Encryption helps protect your personal information, prevents unauthorized access, and keeps others from tampering with your Wi-Fi network. So if you want to make sure your Wi-Fi network is secure, this video is for you. The first Wi-Fi security standard came out in the late 1990s, and it was called WEP, Wired Equivalency Privacy. Since it was new, it naturally had vulnerabilities. It used 64-bit to 128-bit encryption keys, which were not as strong enough. Because of these weaknesses, WEP was quickly considered insecure. In 2002, WEP was replaced by WPA, Wi-Fi Protected Access. WPA was an improvement, but it still wasn't perfect. This version introduced TKIP, Temporal Key Integrity Protocol, which generated a new encryption key for every packet being sent. This was a big step up from WEP, but over time, TKIP was also found to have weaknesses. To address this, WPA moved toward using AES, Advanced Encryption Standard, which is much stronger and is still considered secure today. Then in 2004, WPA2 was released. WPA2 introduced a completely new encryption method called CCMP, Counter Mode Cipher Block Chaining Message Authentication Code Protocol. That was a mouthful, which uses AES for its encryption, and CCMP also added message integrity, ensuring that data arrives at its destination without being altered by a third party, aka hacker. WPA2 became the dominant Wi-Fi security standard for more than a decade. However, researchers eventually discovered weaknesses, which led to the creation of a new standard. In 2018, WPA3 was introduced. WPA3 is currently the most secure Wi-Fi encryption standard. Devices manufactured before 2018 may not support WPA3, meaning they might not even see the Wi-Fi network, let alone connect to it. So, what's the solution? Do you need to buy a new phone? Surprisingly, no. Most modern routers allow you to enable WPA2 and WPA3 at the same time, called mixed mode. However, since WPA2 is still active, the network may remain vulnerable. But wait, I thought WPA2 was secure. That's true. WPA2 encrypts data well. The issue lies in the connection process. When a device connects to a WPA2 network, it performs a four-way handshake with the router. During this process, the Wi-Fi password is exchanged as a hash, which sounds secure, and it is to a point. The problem is that an attacker within the range of your Wi-Fi network can capture that handshake. Even though it's only a hash and not the actual password, the attacker can take the hash and attempt to crack it offline using specialized software and powerful GPUs. This is the main weakness of WPA2. WPA3 fixed this issue by eliminating the four-way handshake. Instead, the device and the router generates a shared session key independently using a process called mutual authentication without transmitting the key over the air. This makes offline password cracking attacks far more difficult. If WPA3 is not an option in your router because it doesn't support it, WPA2 is still acceptable as long as you use a strong password. A strong password should include 8 characters or longer, uppercase and lowercase letters, and numbers and symbols. To further protect your network, change your Wi-Fi password periodically. That way, even if an attacker manages to crack the old password, it becomes useless once the password is changed, forcing them to start over. Still, whenever possible, it's best to use WPA3 as it offers the strongest protection available today. When configuring Wi-Fi security, you may see few options: personal and enterprise. Personal network use a shared password, also called a pre-shared key or PSK. Enterprise networks do not use a shared password. Instead, users authenticate themselves with their individual credentials, such as a username and password, which are verified by an authentication server like Radius, TACAX Plus, or Kerberos. You might also see an option called Open. This means the router isn't using any encryption at all. Data is sent in plain text, which is what typically happens with public Wi-Fi networks. Be very careful when using public Wi-Fi. If you must use it, always use a VPN, virtual private network. A VPN connects your device to a secure external server and creates an encrypted tunnel between your device and that server, protecting everything you send and receive over that public network. That was about the Wi-Fi security standard. See you in the next one.